This episode is sponsored by Agent CRM. If you're in sales and tired of paying 3, 4, or 5 different companies for your email, CRM, funnels, phone, follow-up automation, check out Agent CRM. It's an all-in-one tool that combines all that you need to reach out, nurture, and close your clients. They've got weekly support calls so you can get up and running in no time. Get a free 14-day trial by going to the link below in the show notes.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dan Wynn with the Intentional Entrepreneur Podcast. I have a very special guest with me today. He's the founder of Finoptimal, a company that helps QuickBooks online-based business streamline their financial operations, optimize their value per dollar with an outsourced accounting service that is heavily focused on automation. He has a bachelor's degrees from Penn and Wharton and an MBA from Columbia, and lives in Houston with his wife and 3 children. I do want to welcome to the show Jesse
Four.
Rubenfeld.
There's been
4.
One more
All
since we
right.
wrote that.
Hey, welcome to the club. I just got the 4th one last month.
Oh, wow. That's very fresh.
It is very fresh. Thank you. Hey, so I'm very excited to have you on. I know accounting is very important for any type of business. But before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts, can you share a little bit about your business journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I graduated college not really knowing what I wanted to do, but knowing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I went to work for an entrepreneur, and I started a 6-year journey that culminated in being LimeWire's CFO. And over that 6 years, learned the basics of how to be a good strategic accountant, a good tactical accountant, how to do the books, how to think strategically about the finances, and a lot about how to be an entrepreneur, how to run and not run a company. And even though I didn't really know what to do with that yet, it was a valuable part of my very applied business education, and I sort of filed that away. I then went to work at D.E. Shaw, which was the last full-time job that I had. I held that for 11 years, where I was the controller of their research division that built supercomputers that do chemistry, basically. I was the controller for that group. I did an MBA during that time, still didn't really know what to do. And then after finishing my MBA, I thought, wow, I'm pretty good at automating these accounting functions, and maybe I could make a business out of that. I started taking clients on the side, and I built Finoptimal as a side hustle. I did it on the side until we had about $1 million of recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue. And then it was time to make a move. I raised money, I hired some people, and that led us to the journey that we're on now. We're about 1.5 years into that. And I've learned a lot about how to hire and not to hire, how to try to stay focused on what the highest priorities are for the business. I've had bumps in the road, but most of all, I'm proud of what our team has done, including most recently releasing a software product that largely wasn't built by me. It was built by a team of people. So I think that the one of the pinnacles that I'm striving for as an entrepreneur is to build an organization that can function without me. And while I'm certainly not there yet, I think that our first product, the accruer, means that I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about, working for an entrepreneur? What was it like, just like soaking in the day-to-day? And, there's the difference between just kind of going into work and doing what you need to do and going home. But what was it like working for that person or that company and just learning how to be an entrepreneur?
Great question. It's funny, Dan, when I was applying for jobs, I applied for this one that was on monster.com. And when Mark, the founder, called me after I submitted my resume, and he's like, "Is this Jesse?" I was, "Yes, this is Mark." I'm like, "Are you the LimeWire guy?" I don't know if you remember LimeWire. It was immensely popular file sharing software
Oh
when I
yeah,
was
yeah, I
graduating
remember this.
college.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really didn't care what the business was or what else he did. It turns out LimeWire was a small part of what he did, but at the time, that was what attracted me. Wow, I've heard of LimeWire. That's yes. Oh, you need an accountant? All right, I'll be an accountant. I'm getting on the first train to New York.
Yeah.
So, at the time, wow, this was a man who built what at the time was an iconic brand. And I just wanted to learn more. And then once I went to interview, I saw, okay, this is somebody who's doing a lot of different things. He's not in the details every day, right? He's built a really nice environment for his company to work in, right? There were plants and Buddhas all over the office. There was tons of snacks, the things that people talk about in the Google office. This guy was doing what I believe to be well before that. It was just very forward thinking. I learned how to, I think, build a business without doing all of the business yourself. And that's what I wanted. And I passed up other jobs that were much more traditional equity research, more sort of straight line finance and consulting jobs that probably would have paid me more initially, but wouldn't have given me that breadth, that look at what it means to be an entrepreneur. It also, when I had ideas and I would go to him and say, hey, this is going to be a good business. And he'd be like, no, I don't think so. Those interactions, wouldn't have happened. So I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Sure. Now today you run Finoptimal, which helps businesses with their accounting needs. And I think, accounting or accountant is one of the one every business needs, along with their business attorney and a mentor or an advisor. But with so many accountants out there, it's just it's a very broad stroke name. There's CPAs with the license designation. What are some things that business owners can ask during the interview process, or ask of themselves when they are looking for accountants?
I think the most important question is, how can we do it better? Hey, here's how we currently keep our books. Here's what our month-end close process looks like. Here's what my dashboard looks like. What am I not thinking of? I want to get here. Can you help me? Can you help me get there? And usually our journey with them starts by listening. We have to hear what they're looking for. We need to hear the end of a good story from them. And then it's our job to connect the dots from where we are now to where we are going to be, right? And usually it revolves around wanting to see the impact of every decision flow through to the numbers. And it's often, it involves, like, a lot of it is just about talking and listening at the beginning. It's about understanding more than any single technique, but you're looking for a thought partner, right? A business owner is looking for a thought partner in the financial realm.
It's like what Stephen Covey says, right? Begin with the end in mind. And, is it, when you bring on an accountant, is it more, maybe I'm oversimplifying. All right. Because usually obviously accountants have to deal with numbers. So, hey, I'm doing $500,000 a year and I want to get to $1 million a year. So is the conversation kind of just purely numbers? All right, you got to get up your revenue and decrease your expenses, or is it a little bit more nuanced than that?
I'd say, I mean, so I would say it's infrequent that we are helping, like, we are giving clients direct advice to double or triple their revenue. It's more like, hey, we tried this new ad campaign. We're trying to understand, we can see the clicks, we can see that, but when people check out, we're not getting the visibility into what ad they clicked on. And we talk through the flow of data that would help them figure out the impact of their decision. Or if they have workers, right, that are working on this project or that project, right? And the payroll cost of those people is not getting allocated to the projects. They can't really see how much project A or project B cost. And that is a blind spot when you're deciding how to tell your people to spend their time, right? Most businesses require you to spend money up front, be it on inventory or team, in order to make money later. So you must make decisions in the face of uncertainty. We try to help reduce the scope of that uncertainty. Let's see what is there to be seen, and then you can make better choices about how to allocate resources.
Yeah. And I know, the questions that you're asking, through your experience, you have 6 questions that, someone to test and filter the accounts. So what's the second question someone should ask when they're filtering out accountants?
Well, it's funny. We haven't applied. I think you're probably talking about our hiring test. When we hire accountants, right? We're looking for people that are going to provide a high level of service to our clients. And we want them to not just know some accounting, but love it and take a lot of pride in their work. And most importantly, be willing to spend 10 minutes taking a little quiz that, yes, has 6 questions, just to see if the ones they know they can quickly recall, and the ones they don't know, all right, Google it if you can, see if you can get there. We have only 6 questions, 10 minutes. And it really is it's a better gauge for us than looking at their resume or seeing their name or their GPA or that they have a CPA license. It's sort of like an applied interview before we even meet them. Before I decide to look at your resume, let's see if you can tell me whether accrued expenses carries a debit balance on the balance sheet, right? These are sort of accounting 101 type questions, right? We're building the best QuickBooks add-ons for accountants. So things that are, the stuff that we're asking candidates about is going to be responsive to, can you help us on that mission? Right? Before I even look at your resume, this is a fully automated pipeline. Can you do well on these 6 questions? Then we want to talk. It's a very blind process, in other words.
Sure. And I think that's a good way, right? Because those questions are very critical to how you as a business owner want to have quality staff on your team. And you obviously you want to make use of everyone's time most efficiently, so if they're not scoring well, so to speak, then everyone can and move on. And
let's find out
you want to
now.
focus. Yes, let's find out now for kind of everybody's stake. Have you been able to kind of apply the same idea for business owners when they're looking for accountants?
Yes.
Like, what questions should they ask?
Great question. I think that at the beginning, it's about, can you save me time? Right? Like that 6 question test is an instance of, hey, I have a day job. I've got clients already that need to be served. I know I need to find help, but I don't want to spend time peeling through resumes, sending out intro emails, only to find out that 95% of them, including lots of people with CPAs, aren't going to be able to do the job. So I'm looking for time savings. And if I'm a business owner talking to Finoptimal, or even if I'm an accountant with the business owner looking to be better at my job, I'm looking to save time. Because in the accounting world, for better or for worse, time is money. Lots of people still charge by the hour, right? If I told an accountant at an accounting firm or the controller at a small business, hey, I could save you 20% of your time, or if you're in the right industry, 70 or 80% of your time, depending on your people, process, and technology. Yeah, I'm interested. You saved all that time recruiting accountants, and you can save me time on my day-to-day accounting tasks. Tell me more. Time's the most valuable asset.
Yeah. It's, the number one resource that we can't get back, right? Until we figure out how to make the time machine. And
That's
I think
right.
a lot of
you probably already know this, but I'm finding out having 4 kids is not the straightest line to getting more time. So I sure as hell don't want to spend time looking at resumes of people that might look good on paper, but can't tell me, accounting 101 type basics.
Yeah. So, what else should business owners ask? Obviously, can you save me time? And with that, save me money. But what else should business owners ask as they're filtering through accountants?
Great question. I'd sum it up as follows. If you paid me more money today, small business owner, Well, let's frame it. You asked what would the business owner ask? If I'm the business owner, I would ask the accountant or the software service or whatever thought partner I'm thinking of considering. If I pay you more today, how can you save me more money in the long run? It's an investment. All right, you got to spend money to make money. I'll spend some money on you, accounting software. How are you going to save me money in the long run?
Yeah.
Right? It's simple math. Businesses are not charities, they're businesses. And it's important that any thought partner, any vendor, any add-on that's asking small businesses to spend money on them is delivering the value and then some.
How would you respond to another question along those lines? It's yeah, okay. How can you make me more, make me more? I guess alternatively, how fast can I make my return on my initial investment? And then loosely, how can you be a profit center, right? In a sense of like, hey, I wanted to get, and not so much the dollars, but how do I make sure I get more value out of you than I'm paying you in your salary or your invoices?
Great question. If I'm a good accounting firm answering that question, first, I'm charging you flat instead of hourly, right? I'm going to show you better processes, better technology. And secondly, and this is partially a consequence of the first thing, if your business is growing, working with me is going to keep your cost from scaling linearly. It's going to scale sublinearly. You're going to be able to grow your business without growing that cost, right? That is improving margins. That is raising the value of your business. That is improving productivity. That is what makes the economy go. So it's very important that software, that consultants draw a line that, and you asked about how long does it take, payback period. It needs to be as short as possible. When we decided which of our software tools to productize first, we thought which of them is going to save the most businesses the most time on their monthly close, the most different kinds of businesses, the most varied skills in their in-house accounting function, which could be anywhere from 0 to 4 or 5 full-time people. What's going to give our customers the most bang for their buck? Because that's what they want to know. How is the money I give you now going to make me more money in the long run?
Right. So I know, we talked about saving time, saving money, and at least with the AI coming out, there's a lot of talking about automation. The only the only thing about accounting automation is making sure the software always categorizes the expense from this specific vendor always the same every month. But can you talk a little bit about finance automation and why does it matter?
Absolutely. Categorization is definitely the most popular application of AI in accounting so far. I believe that one reason, and I want to just briefly touch on the difference between that and accounting automation. And again, we're not talking about accounting practice automation, right? A CRM or helping you invoice your clients. We're talking about automating doing the books. It's complicated. It takes time to think through the best way to automate, to calculate and record journal entries, which is what happens, in an accounting automation, right? In an accounting environment at small businesses, the monthly close, you got to book a lot of journal entries, right? How can we make the booking of journal entries less error prone, much, much quicker and elegant so that I get more visibility than I would otherwise get if I weren't using the automation? Answering those questions is how you demonstrate the value to a business owner who may not understand accrual accounting or deferred revenue recognition or prepaid expense amortization. But if I can draw a line for them and say, your accountants will spend less time and you're going to be able to see your profitability by customer, where currently you can only see your profitability at the total level, right? It's about connecting the dots.
Right. And I know through your processes, you are able to kind of eliminate up to 80% of manual steps. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Sure. We built tons of tools, bespoke pieces, powerful standalone, even more powerful together. Okay.
Mhm.
Piece together, they're flexible and powerful. It's not like an all-in-one monolith that forces you
Mhm.
into a box, right? When you're a small business, you're unique. It's about taking automation, lots of different automations. We just live in an amazingly exciting time with awesome SaaS companies out there.
Mhm.
Picking the SaaS companies is the hardest thing to do. There's a million different companies that do. It's a curation problem. But if I have an
Mhm.
expert help me pick the right tools, turn the dials so that they work for my business, right? Book
Mhm.
the journal entries automatically, push them to QuickBooks, save me having to key it in, right? It's just an enormous savings of time. 80% is an underestimate for some businesses, right? If
Mm.
they're very heavy with deferred revenue recognition or fixed assets, tons and tons of journal entries that an army of accountants have to book every month. And we make that go to almost zero. It's a real time savings, error reduction. And again, getting that sublinear cost scaling as your revenue scales. Let me grow without it costing more.
You kind of talk about the kind of the marketplace for third-party apps for or apps for QuickBooks integration. Can you talk a little bit or share a little bit, but maybe some of the flaws in those apps that have QuickBooks integration?
Yes, I think first of all, today the number of companies that have APIs is just 10 times what it was when I started, and it's great. What I've noticed about companies that build QuickBooks integration specifically is that it's often an afterthought. It's not thought through with real accountants. They know they need to have an integration with QuickBooks, which is the most powerful platform and a great platform. So they want to market that they have an integration with QuickBooks. But in my experience, it's the bare minimum, and it falls very short if you're an accountant looking at how that software books entries to QuickBooks. And oftentimes the API doesn't even have enough data to book the entry correctly, even if I could pull all that from the API, right? So it's about building software tools by accountants, in large part for accountants. We're selling our software mostly to accountants, right? That are going to say, wow, somebody's building software for me. They've thought through what my problems are. They're saving me time. Whereas other people are creating work for me by giving me bad automation that's counterproductive.
So, we've talked a lot about technology and automation. Can you share what your firm is doing that's different from maybe traditional accounting firms?
First and foremost, I'm an engineer and a CPA. And I try to set that tone for our team here that it's the holy grail. We teach our accountants how to code, and we teach our coders some accounting. I'm not naive. Most people are not going to become experts in both of those fields. But the more crossover there is between accounting and engineering, the more problems get solved in an interesting way that's going to offer breakthrough solutions and keep competitors struggling to catch up.
Very good. Hey, we're here with Jesse Rubenfeld from Finoptimal, accounting firm and software. I don't know if you call it a software company or I call it SaaS company.
Oh yeah, absolutely. SaaS company, baby.
SaaS company. Yeah. So here we're kind of getting towards the end here, but I do want to ask, what, as far as the types of clientele you have, what is like the sweet spot? Like, hey, I can do this all day long.
Sure. They need to be on QuickBooks Online. They need to have accrual accounting, meaning they're not just booking cash in, cash out. They need to be looking at their numbers very critically and doing a monthly close, which any serious business owner is going to be doing. And if you fit that mold, right, you're probably using spreadsheets where we can save you having to use spreadsheets. Our accruer product is just going to tear down a lot of the way you're used to doing them in a way that makes you smile, right? Accountants that are interested in learning more should head to finoptimal.com and sign up for the accruer. We help companies get on an accrual basis faster than anything else on the market.
So kind of stepping back here as a CPA, what is the benefit of going on accrual basis accounting?
Great question. Accrual accounting is the language of accounting. And we know that,
Mm.
as Warren Buffett says, accounting is the language of business.
Yes.
Accrual accounting is important because if you are paying your expenses this month and you're not collecting until 2 months from now, and you want to know, how did I do in June? You're going to have trouble answering that question if you're only booking cash in and cash out. Because whatever I'm paying out today, right, I'm not going to get paid for 2 months. And what I'm getting paid for today, I spent the money to earn 2 months ago. So I can't compare the cash in today with the cash out today. I need accrual accounting to help me with that.
And I think this kind of has broader implications in the sense that, hey, if you're distributing financial statements for, let's say, financing, right? It sounds like accrual accounting paints a better picture for whoever's going to give you a loan than traditional cash basis.
Dan, I couldn't have put it better myself.
All right. Hey, thanks again, Jesse, for spending some time with us, sharing about the wonderful world of accounting. But it's something every business needs to be aware about, and every business owner needs to know their numbers. Before we kind of hop out of here, I'm gonna put Jesse through the rapid fire hot seat. It's all G-rated, so don't worry. And just answer the first thing that pops in your head. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Who do you look up to?
The first thing that pops into my head, Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. What's the best business book you've ever read?
Extreme Ownership.
What's the best business advice you've ever received?
Anything that goes wrong in your business is your fault.
If you could do one thing over again, what would it be?
I would have been a software developer right out of college.
Are you familiar with the term 3 feet from gold?
Oh, sorry, Zoom cut out there for a second. Did you ask another question?
Yeah. Are you familiar with the phrase 3 feet from gold?
No.
Okay, so the story is the prospector buys a piece of land, buys all the mining equipment, digs, can't find any gold. Then he gives up and sells it to the next guy, and the guy only digs 3 feet and hits a major vein of gold. So as a business owner, how do you know when to pivot or when you're just 3 feet from gold?
That's a great question. An entrepreneur is a hopeless optimist. And the answer is they never sell that business. They just keep looking. And a lot of them fail for that reason. But that's a great problem to have.
All right. What's the biggest challenge in your business today?
Finding good people.
Good people. And finally, what's the best thing that you recently spent $100 or less on that has improved your business or your personal life immensely?
Spotify. My team's very into music. We have a weekly competition where everybody has to pick a song, best East Coast artist, best female artist, and then we all vote on it. $100 on Spotify.
All right.
$10 a month-ish.
$10 a month. Right. Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Jesse, for hanging out with us. Hey, if we want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
My LinkedIn page, Jesse Rubenfeld, JESSERUBENFELD, or finoptimal.com. Book a demo for the accruer.
We'll put those links in our show notes. Hey, thanks again for hanging out with us. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Thanks, Dan. Have a good day.